On this latest episode of DWZ, we're going to make this a lot more funner. It's all about the Japanese wrestling. First, we got ChocoPro 306 with the return of Emi Sakura in the main event, teaming up with Minoru Fujita. We also got, of course, the road to Wrestling Dontaku for New Japan Pro Wrestling. As you know, these matches are kind of previews till we get to Wrestling Dontaku. As you know, we have Sanada defending the IWGP World Heavyweight title against his former teammate Hiromu Takahashi. We know that Aussie Open will defend their titles against TMDK, and we got plenty others. But saving this one for last for all of you, Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom. This is the biggest pay-per-view show that Stardom has held. We have almost the entirety of all titles being defended. We have, of course, the World of Stardom Championship, the Wonder, the IWGP Goddesses All Stars, you name it. And also we have the special matches such as the Himeka Retirement Road. As you know, this will be Himeka's last match in Stardom before she retires, and plenty other things. And of course, we got some interesting news updates to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Leaded Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 306. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the return to Emi Sakura. Now, if you guys probably wondering why she came back, well, this coming possibly weekend, we are expecting them to be involved in a crossover event with Deadlock Pro Wrestling, something that was already been announced. I'm sure that's why she's here ahead of time to get everything set. But let's get to every match that's going on. Our first match, we have Mei Shiruga versus Miya Yatsuba versus Tokiko Kira. But one thing I did like about this match is because if you guys know this, and you may know Mei Shiruga has to haul her ass all the way to Yokohama Arena. She is scheduled to be at Stardom to team up with Azumi. And she showed up in her gear with a suitcase, saying that as soon as she's done, she has to. So she's trying to make this match high speed as possible so she can go and leave to Yokohama. So I thought it was pretty funny that she shows up with the suitcase, but she's trying to end this match quickly as possible so she doesn't miss the train. So I thought, what a great match. So fun. I love how Mei Shiruga acts one in her matches. But I'm sure that both Miya and Tokiko were trying to derail her as much as possible, but nope. It didn't do any good for them because apparently Mei Shiruga double pinned them in a somewhat of a Monster Hall type, like a crucifix type pinfall. But nonetheless, she won her match. Then she had a skedaddle. So I thought it was a great moment for her to say, Mei Shiruga has left the building. So anyway, let's move on. Our next match, we have Sayaka teaming up with Shin Suzuki. They face off Mochi Natsumi and Masahiro Takanashi. Now, this is a very interesting matchup because Masahiro is preparing for his bigger matches that he's taking place, but he has to go through Shin Suzuki and Sayaka. So it was a pretty good match. Um, I have often talked about how Sayaka has grown a lot being a fourth generation of the Got to Move brand, but in this case, it was in fact Masahiro's dirty tricks that kind of put him, ahead of everything. He actually poked the eyes of Sayaka without, I don't know what the referee was thinking, but apparently he picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Balinaki to take on the Minoru Fujita and Emi Sakura. So I thought this match was pretty good because, we've seen how much Emi Sakura has evolved since being here in the States, adapting, gaining a lot of recognition and all this other stuff. But it was pretty fun. However, it was, of course, a magistral by Emi Sakura Tachi to pick up the win. Now, who was going to win the Jonkin tournament? That was a very difficult moment. Balanaki was already out. Mia Tsuba did pretty good, but she was eliminated. Same thing with one thing I did like is Mochi Natsumi being right across her mentor, Memi Sakura, but she lost. But it was, of course, in the end, Masahiro Takanashi all the way with Shin Suzuki. Now, Shin always looked up to Masa, so who's going to walk away? The student or the teacher? Well, in this case, it was the teacher who got away with it by winning, applying uh, paper while Shin did rock. So that's pretty much how it ended up. Don't forget, we do got the crossover event coming up soon. And I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. So let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Road to Wrestling Dontaku. Alrighty then. So we got New Japan Pro Wrestling with Road to Wrestling Dontaku. That's the next pay-per-view coming up real soon. Now these are matches that are kind of like previews to what we're gonna get before that. So let's get started. Um, we have, of course, Bolton Oleg and Rohi Oiwa, the Young Lions. As usual, when it comes to matches, when we see Young Lions in the ring, we either see, on most occasions, a time limit draw, or a rare occasion, one of the Young Lions walk out with the victory. But what I did, I kind of expected it was going to go into a time limit draw when I watched this because um, when we see a young lion applying a submission move or continue on fighting, that's when we hear the bell. But however, we can agree that these young lions are in fact improving every single time we see them. But unfortunately, they already surpassed the time limit, 10 minutes, and it's over right from there. Next up, we got House of Torture. All four members, Dick Togo, Sho, Yujiro, and Evil, taking on Yuto Nakashima and the members of Chaos, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now, there were some events related to the Road to Wrestling Dontaku, but they're basically house shows. These are something you do not see when it comes to um, this particular tour. Um, Recently, Evil wanted to destroy the 20th anniversary of Hiroki Goto. He said he was going to retire him, but it did not work. So I'm sure there's still a deep grudge between Evil and Hiroki Goto. The I believe this feud dates back a couple years ago when Evil had the never open weight title, and Hiroki Goto has always been, like, to me, as the guy who made the never open weight championship what it is. So I think that kind of leads to that feud. Like, maybe Evil wants to end them once and for all, but it did not. But unfortunately, in this matchup, we always see how House of Torture always cut corners. Yujiro did that by applying an low blow onto Nakashima while the ref did not see it, and then applied the pimp juice, giving him the win. But the obvious question does tell: is Evil done with Hiroki Goto? I don't think so, but we know they'll come across them some point in the future. Next up, we got the Jet Setters, consistent of Kushida and Kevin Knight, teaming with Hiroyoshi Tenzan taking on the members of the United Empire, consistent of Aaron Henare and, of course, our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, um, TJP and Francisco Cara. Now, they accepted. Now, if you guys remember, Catch 22 accepted the challenge by the Jet Setters, but Catch 22 are confident to believe that they are going to still remain. But right now, this is just a preview match. You probably would have assumed that this match would fall in favor of United Empire, but well, it did because Tenzan got submitted for the full Nelson lock. But of course, TJP and Akira are a bunch of scumbags who like to taunt the faces of the challengers. But however, the challengers were not going to stay quiet because they gave them an ass beating they wouldn't forget, and they reminded them that they will take those titles off. But TJP is confident enough to say it's not going to happen, that their time is already out. You may never know because we have seen how formidable um, Kevin Knight and Kushida has been in the last few months. Remember, they had a pretty good record during the uh, junior Super Junior Tag League, but we'll see about that. Next up, we got the members of TMDK, Kosta Fujita, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and of course the frontman Zack Sabre Jr. taking on the members of the United Empire that consists of the Great Khan, Jeff Cobb, and of course our current IWGP heavyweight tag team champions and the strong openweight tag team champions, Aussie Open. Now, this match does have a preview setting. Uh, Zack Sabre Jr. recently, when he saw during what was it, Sakura Genesis, that Aussie Open won the IWGP tag titles, he decided to volunteer and tell them that of course his mates Nichols and Haste want to be their next challengers. So Jeff Cobb says, okay, if they're gonna put their tag titles on the line, how about this, Zach? You put your IWGP World Television title on the line. So basically, it was a done deal. So this is just a preview to what we're gonna get for that. But I have to say it was a pretty good one. I mean, Zack Sabre Jr., he knows how to find people's weaknesses. That's why they call him the technical wizard. And I saw how intense both Haste and Nichols are when it comes to facing their own countrymen. That includes Aussie Open. But unfortunately, it was Kosta Fujita who ended up on the wrong side of the Tour of the Islands, giving them a United Empire to say that they are going to win this one regardless. Next up, we have the Bullet Club, consistent of Geto, Taiji Shimori, Kenta, and David Finlay, taking on Master Wato, and the members of Gorillas of Destiny, Yado, Hikuleo, and Tama Tonga. Now, Tama is putting his never openweight title on the line against David Finlay, while Hikuleo issued the challenge against Kenta for the strong openweight championship. I thought this match was pretty good. As you know, the endless rivalry between both the God and Bullet Club still has an end, but it was Wato with his submission move onto Geto, forcing him to say, "Yes, I give up." And I thought it was a pretty good match, but it's sending a direct message to, you know, Hikuleo to Kenta, and of course Tama to David Finlay, that they're ready for them regardless of what they're planning to do. Our next match, we have a 10-man tag team match. We have the GBH, consisting of Hamna and Makabe, teaming with the members of Chaos, Yano, Ishii, and Okada, taking on Shota Umino, Tiger Mask, and of course our current never openweight 6-man tag team champions, Strong Style, Narita, Despi, and Suzuki. I thought this match was pretty good, but one thing I did like, if you guys remember clearly, during I think was it the collision in Philadelphia, Despi had a pretty good match against Ishii, so he hasn't forgotten what happened. He still wants a piece of him. Now, you probably could say, isn't a Despi a junior heavyweight competitor? Yeah, But I think right now, the way I see it, Despy is embracing the strong style. Now, Despy never did find the whole strong style, you know, any significance to it. But I think with him being around Suzuki and Narita kind of changed his perspective of what strong style really is about. And I think he's showing that he has bigger balls to deal with a guy like Ishii. He's not afraid of him. But the obvious thing is, can he put him away? I mean, Ishii's a tough SOB. So that could possibly go in that direction. But however, the reason of this match taking place, Ren Narita issued the challenge to Okada after losing the IWGP World Heavyweight title to Sonata, telling him, "Hey, I'm putting the never openweight 6-man tag titles on the line. So find yourself some partners." Uh, Fortunately, Okada did find one, and that is Ishii. So that's kind of interesting. But the third, that's a different thing. But the match, I figured it was going to be an endless rivalry with strong style and chaos in some capacity because it was of course Ren Narita with the Cobra Clutch onto Hamna to force him to tap out. But at the post match comments, Okada did ask Yano to be the third man, but Yano doesn't want to be in this one. Not for that he doesn't want to be around Suzuki. If you guys remember, Suzuki and Yano are, well, Yano's like the one who likes to get under the skin, and he's afraid what he's gonna do to what Suzuki might do to him the next time they see each other. So basically, that's gonna be a very difficult thing to see. So we'll find out who will be the third man. Now our main event, we have Lij's Bushi, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, and Hiromu taking on uh just 5 guys. Well, in this case, there's 4 of them, but all 5 of them are there. Doiki, Kanemaru, Taichi, and Sonata. While, of course, Taka is in tow, supporting his team. I thought, as you know, this whole rivalry, this whole thing between them started when Hiromu issued the challenge to Sonata. Um, how do I say? Wanted to take on challenge for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. But Sonata said, "Hey, if you're going to challenge me for this title, you should put the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title on the line." So he put Kanemaru to be that guy. So, but however, I did like how Doiki, as you know, Doiki has grown so much ever since, before before the disbandment of Suzuki Goon, and now with just 5 guys, it's everything that we expected. But he was defeated by Naito when he pulled up a roll up. Now, um, during during the promo at the post match, Hiromu have some words conversations with Kanemaru. I'm sure Hiromu would say that he's not going to lose the title to him, but also Shingo Takagi is willing to put the KOPW title on the line against Taichi. So I'm sure Taichi will come up with a stipulation wrestling thing. I don't know, but nonetheless, this is going to be interesting because this is not the first time that Taichi has challenged for that. I mean, he did challenge for the trophy, but the belt, that's going to be a different story right now. So can't wait to see when we get to Wrestling Dontaku, and we go from there. So right now, let's just move on and do our final review. And I say this for last: Stardom All Star Grand Queendom. Okay, I saved this one for last because I have a feeling I'm gonna have a lot of people who are gonna enjoy this review. We're talking about Stardom with the All Star Grand Queendom. This is the biggest pay per view they have ever done in their history. Um, Interesting facts: certain wrestlers, especially, I hear that some people haven't done a wrestling match in Yokohama Arena for a long time, but that could change everything. So let's get started. Now, our first match it was part of the pre-show. We have is a Rumble match. We have various wrestlers, such as, of course, Waka was involved, Momokogo, the Hanan sisters, um, Lady C. Um, but one thing I did notice, I don't know if you guys saw, Momokogo got hurt. It happened right when Mai Sakurai applied the guillotine flip. You know that flip that she does and have her leg onto the chest or neck of the opponent. Momokogo wasn't moving, so basically she was kind of like unconscious. But from what people were putting on Twitter, she was taken out by a stretcher. Not your typical stretcher where it comes with the wheels. It's the ones that they carry, like back in the old days. So hopefully she was okay. But however, she was unable to participate as in the English commentary with Chris Carlton and Sonny Gutierrez. But it was later at last minute. I think they asked Mariah May to do the whole English commentary with them, and according to Chris Carlton, she killed it. Basically, she did a pretty good job. Even though Mariah May said that she was not happy with the fact that Momo was doing the commentary, but nonetheless. But what I did like about what I was not sure about this is how it's going to end. It was Mai Sakurai who actually won the match by eliminating all three strong machines. And once again, Mai Sakurai being the lady, saying that she's going to her VIP section with all this and the stuff, and also enjoy the main event where her teacher, Julia, will defeat Tam. So we'll see when we get there. Now, this next match, I have to say this was a very interesting one for me, part of the pre-show. We have Oedo Tai consistent of Ruka, Momo Watanabe, Saki Kashima, and Natsuko Tora, who's coming out with her brand new gear. They take on Club Venus, consisting of Mariah May, Xena, and Jessie. They team up with Tekla. I think this is one of the most fantastic stories. Now, Tekla would do anything to have these ladies join DDM, but now it's being reverse psychology for her. Like, it's more like they want her to join DDM, join Club Venus. And she's like, when does this suffering end? They're like embracing her, giving her kisses. I think it's just awesome how she's like, fuck my life. Sorry, it's just too hilarious, guys. I just love it how Tekla's like this. But nonetheless, they did pretty good as a team. Now, they're not 100% cohesive, but it's because, well, we can't agree that Oetai are 100% cohesive. But at certain times when it comes to Oetai, we have seen them where they're in fact try to cut corners by using their weapons. It doesn't matter what. But fortunately, it backfired on Club Venus when Tekla accidentally whacked Jessie, but it was, of course, what's her name? Saki, who applied the Kishikase onto Jessie. 1, 2, 3. But we could have seen a feud between Tekla and Mariah May. I think that's what many fans, but I don't know. I have the strong feeling that they really want her to join Club Venus, but Tekla has no interest. But I have to say, it's a fantastic story. Now, our next match will take us to high speed. Huh? Huh? Yeah, you heard me. High speed. We have, of course, Starlight Kid teaming up with someone who Stardom hasn't seen for quite a while. My Seira, I think that's her name. They take on Mei Suga and Azumi. Now, this thing is a long history now. If you guys remember last year, Mei Suga and Azumi had one of the most incredible matches regarding for the high speed title. That's something we can agree upon about that. And of course, Azumi did talk in the past that she would like to team up with Mei Suga. Mei wasn't too keen on that, but because of Starlight Kid showing up at Ichigaya Square looking for her, it kind of gave her, okay, maybe I'll take Azumi's offer, maybe team up with her. So that kind of went into high gear. And I think this was a pretty good match. But I think the most surprising is Mei Seira pinned Azumi. Now we haven't. Now I never seen her before, but from my understanding, she's been with Stardom. She has been with many promotions outside of Stardom, like Marvelous and Sendai Girls. But it's interesting that she picked up the win in Azumi. Now, rule of thumb is, um, her pinning Azumi, this could lead her to win, have an opportunity for the high speed title. And I'm sure many fans will love to see that. And of course, Starlight Kid is happy with the win, picking the right partner. Azumi and Mei Sugar are not happy how this ended, but that doesn't mean they're gonna stop teaming up. I mean, they would love to team up again. That's what they said in the post match comment. So we'll get more onto that. Now, our next match, I have to say, is one of the most impressive matches. Azuki teaming up with Fuwa Chan. They take on Queen's Quest, Miyu Amasaki, and Utami Hashi. Now, Fuwa Chan, if you guys are unfamiliarized who she is a comedian slash YouTuber, kind of like Logan Paul, but I like to say she is more cooler than Logan Paul. But I have to say, this girl can wrestle. I mean, she took her training very seriously. There's clips where you see her, she is training with the Rainmaker, Kaguchika Okada. Now, I have to say, this match was amazing with Fuwa-chan. Many people praise her a lot, and not to mention, they're like saying, Stardom, when are you going to sign her? I mean, it would be great to see her. But one thing that really surprises me with her, she knows how to do the drop kicks, and she pulled off the German suplex onto Utami. That is incredible. I have to say her training really, really paid off. And I have to say to many fans who saw this, I agree. Stardom, sign her. But unfortunately, Fuwa-chan suffered right in the end with the German suplex by Utami. And I think Utami and Miyamasuki have possibly respected Fuwa-chan for her hard work. And I think that's a good thing. Even for opponents who've seen, oh, you can't fit in as a wrestler, but seeing her, she did it. That's respect right there. And of course, during her post-match comments, Fuwa-chan says that she loves pro wrestling. I'm sure we'll see her again. That's something we can't expect. Now, this next match, this is a much an emotional match. As you know, this is the last official match of Himeka in her retirement road. She takes on her tag team partner and BFF, Micah. This was a match that was something that she wanted to do. Now, if you guys remember clearly, last year during the 5-star Grand Prix, they had an amazing match, but fortunately it ended with a time limit draw. So it was very emotional. But one thing I did like is, I don't know whose bright idea was this, but I have to say it was amazing. Like, you know how they say, this is how it starts and this is how it ends. Himeka's career started with Mina Shirakawa doing the ring announcing. And she became the ring announcer for this particular match. And there was a lot of emotions in this one. You can tell, because you can tell Mina probably doesn't want her to retire, but this is her choice, And because in real life these two were best friends and all that prior before becoming wrestlers, and I think that kind of sets it all. But I have to say, what a match! It was very impressive. But one thing that was so emotional, if you guys remember, this kind of reminds me a little bit of the Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair match, where it's like Ric Flair told him to take the shot, and Shawn didn't want to do it, but he did it after he said the words "I love you." Micah did the same thing too. Like, she was like on the verge of applying the Michinoku driver onto Himeka, and she tells her that she loves her, and boom. Like, you can tell, like, this is not how she wanted it, but it did happen. So, like I said, this was an emotional match that you don't want to miss. Now, our next match, this is for the goddesses of Stardom. This is the tag titles. I think this is the fourth attempt by Ami Suri and Mirai of God's Eye. Now, they have challenged for these belts 3 times already. The first 2 times was against FWC. First one was draw. Second one, they lost completely. Third time is with Meltier. They lost completely. But now they're facing Neo Stardom Army, or 7 Up, as we call them, Yu and Nanane Takahashi. Now, we have seen how strong Nanane and Yu have been as tag champions. But we have seen how strong Amisuri and Mirai have been together since they established. So the obvious question does tell: how can they overcome like them? Well, I have to say they put every ounce of strength, but however, they came up with a much better strategy. If they can't pick up a pin against them, they actually put them in a countout and won the titles just like that. Now, we can say people are saying Stardom are fools not putting Mirai with a championship. Well, I guess the goddesses will have to do. Or say, okay, I'm okay with the idea of her winning the goddesses. I think that's pretty good. I like how she ended up, but we still haven't heard what championship she would challenge. Will it be the white belt or the red belt? That's something we know she will be paying attention. But nonetheless, she and Ami Sori finally win the tag title. So that is something we know they've been looking for. But I'm sure you and Nanane are not going to forget this. They will probably get the revenge against them. It's only a matter of time of when. Next match, we have the Artists of Stardom, the Trios belts. We have the formed restart consistence of Sadio Inoue, who just recently joined the Cosmic Angels, Natsupoi, and of course everyone's favorite pirate princess, Kairi. They take on prominent Kurumi Harige, Suzuki, and Risa Sera. This was a pretty impressive match. I did like the moment where Kairi did apply a sliced bread, but going off Zuzu and bam onto Risa Sera. But of course, Risa Sera brought in the candlestick as always. I thought it was a pretty impressive. But one thing I did like about this match is Sadio Inoue and Suzuki were once real life best friends until something happened. I'm not sure what it was, but it ended with those two being at the last parts of the match. But what was impressive is Sadio Inoue applied a backslide onto Suzuki, and she kind of made sure her legs stayed tight when she flipped over, and boom, they became our brand new Artists of Stardom Championship. And this puts Suzuki like she can't believe they lost. But however, she did state it in the post match comments that this is not the end for her. That she will, do something. She did talk a while back about maybe pursuing for the red belt. That's something I know for a fact she would want. Now, the match we've all been waiting for, the rematch between Mina Shirakawa and Saya Kamitani. Now, we haven't forgotten the horrific moment when Mina got injured, where Kamitani applied the Phoenix Splash and botched it, putting her teeth inward. Now, however, people say in this particular match that Mina made the right choice in leaving Cosmic Angels to make Club Venus more stand out with her winning the belt. That's something I think many of us have talked about. But man, this match was amazing. I mean, look, their first match could have been match of the year of 2022. But if it wasn't for that injury, the accident, it would have been. But it didn't. But this one also played out another very well. But what I did like in the story of this particular match, it's like Mina knows Kamitani's fear. She hasn't applied the Phoenix Splash since that fateful accident. We have seen her only applied the Firebird Splash, which is the 450. And, Ami Sori even questioned her that she can't even fly because of this particular incident. But Mina was forcing her to do it. Now, I have to say she took a page out of Minoru Suzuki's book. If you guys don't know where I'm referring to, let's talk about that just a little bit. If you remember, prior before Yushin Thunder Liger retired, Minoru Suzuki was pushing Liger's buttons, tried to bring out the dark side out of him, which he did. He brought in Kishin Liger, the demon, the demon alter ego we have seen. And when Suzuki got missed by Kishin Liger, he actually smiled and laughed. And I think that sets it in. And I feel that Mina did exactly almost the same thing because prior before this big event during Corkin Hall, Sai Kamitani spit the green mist and Mina was laughing. Something that Minoru Suzuki would do. And I think that played out. Now, there were moments Kamitani's questioning, should I do it? Can I do it? That sort of thing. She did it, but I feel like she botched it a little bit when she landed on Tam's knee. I mean, Mina Shirakawa's knee. But you probably would assume that this match would end with the figure four leg lock or the Mina collection, but it didn't. It ended with, of course, the glamorous Mina driver Mina. It kind of went that way, and of course, people can say even though this match ended with Mina, because people talked about how Cosmic Angels will never fit into the mold into Stardom, but Mina proved them otherwise. Even though she's not a Cosmic Angel, this is one of those matches like, oh, she actually pulled it off. Now our next match, it features, of course, Chihiro Hashimoto from Sendai Girls taking on Suri. Now Suri has issued this challenge since losing the red belt to Julia late last year, and this was like a long time coming. This was a match that, of course, Suri has been want to, how to say, right or wrong to it. So we know she had been asking for this match for a long while, and I think this played pretty well. But this match was not just a normal match; it was either a submission or KO match. But I have to say, Suri put everything to her limit in order to try to take out Hashimoto, and in the end, it was a KO or by a 10 count that put away Hashimoto once and for all. So she may have got this win, but she feels like it will never be over, even if she has to go down to Sendai to take on her and her entire posse. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, our next match is the IWGP Women's Championship. We have, of course, the icon of Stardom, Mayu Iwatani versus Mercedes Moné. I have to say, if you guys noticed the mask that that Mercedes Moné was wearing, that is the Black Tiger mask, a mask that we all, if you guys are unfamiliarized, Eddie Guerrero used to be the Black Tiger back in the day when he was in Japan. So it's a proper way for her to pay homage to her hero, Eddie Guerrero, and I think that sets it all. So, but the match itself, oh man, it was so brutal. But we all can say Mercedes should not underestimate Mayu. I mean, Mayu has been the icon of Stardom for many reasons. She has shown her resiliency every single time. So how this one ended, well, she applied the Dragon Suplex and boom, she finally became the IWGP Women's Champion. And I think this is something that many fans have been wanting to see for a long time. So it was pretty good. I know many fans were hoping that Mercedes Moné would remain as champion, but uh, whatever reason, it kind of went to this direction. And I think it was pretty good. But of course, Mercedes Moné now understands why Mayu is the icon and, gave her the respect she deserves. But at the post match comments, she did state it that this is not over yet, just yet with her. Her next event will be on the 21st of May at the Long Beach with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But she says she will be back in Stardom. There's still no indication when or what is her plans for that. But we'll see what happens then. Now, our main event. This one was a rivalry that's been going on for a long time. It dates back after Harisa Hoshiki retired, after she had to vacate the white belt. Julia stepped in and tried to challenge for the belt, but Tam wanted that belt to win it for Arisa, but Julia won it. But now they're facing each other for the red belt, the World of Stardom Man. They went beyond the violence that these two can put onto each other, Julia and Tam. Julia is trying to determine once and for all why she's a far more uh, better superstar than Tam, but Tam always felt that she's been in her shadow. No matter how far Tam has tried to beat Julia, but never seems to rise tries to, how do I say, why is it that she keeps rising when you fall you're supposed to be on your lowest point? But Julia never stays that for long. But one thing that was surprising is Tam applied the Northern Lights bomb, which is a move that Julia has used on many occasions. We've seen her do it. Even that's how she beat Tam in the 5-star Grand Prix last year. And that kind of went pretty well. But however, people, I don't know how they felt about this match. Tam applied the violent screwdriver and it was done. She becomes the red belt champion. And of course, we all kind of wanted her to win that belt, but some people feel maybe this was a mistake. But I think there's some certain reasons. But certain fans ask for other fans, please do not bash mouth Tam Nakano for this. It's not worth it. I mean, we don't need to do another, how to say, Hana Kimura situation, just putting it out there for everyone. Because I know that's something we don't want to see. But Tam, of course, um, put out a promo how much she sees Julia as a monster and all this stuff. And of course, Julia felt like, I'm done with you. But Tam wanted to be the one to say that. But the obvious thing is this: is this over between them? I don't know. I feel like maybe this is just paused for some odd reason between them. So Tam finally fulfilled her dreams to be at the top. And of course, she celebrated this with Natsupoi, Sadionoi, and of course, a very unusual Kairi, who's not a member of the Cosmic Angels, but she's like an honorary member. I mean, but we all can agree upon the end of the night that Cosmic Angels actually won this one. I mean, Tam won the red belt, Sadori and Natsupoi won the artist, and of course, former Angel Mina Shirakawa. So that even though Mina, we can agree she's not a member anymore, but we'll always remember her as a Cosmic Angel. So, what's next? Well, we'll find out after that. But it was an amazing pay-per-view. It was pretty awesome. I'll talk about more on this one on our news update, so stand by for that. Right now, let's move on to our news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have. Now, if you guys may or may not have heard this was coming from Pro Wrestling Noah. Former NXT UK star Saxon Huxley appeared at Pro Wrestling Noah. It appears that he's joining a particular faction. I cannot remember which one. But however, recently some fans are calling Saxon Huxley as, let me put out what they're saying, that Ira no Brody, which means Rira's Brody. I'm not sure if they're referring to Brody Bruiser Brody, but it's interesting now that he is in Pro Wrestling Noah. We have seen many of wrestlers who were in WWE end up in Noah. Let me look: Timothy Thatcher, Hideki Suzuki. But yeah, but seeing him, I have to say, it's pretty surprisingly. Hopefully, he can shine over there in Pro Wrestling Noah. Now, our next update was announced by West Coast Pro for Kid Zombie in June that the bounty hunter Keith Brian Keith returns. Now, in the aftermath of Stardom, as you know, the president of Bushiroad has talked about how he wants to make, how do I say, make this thing at the Yokohama Arena an annual thing. He said that he wants to, since we know New Japan has done this with at the Tokyo Dome, so he feels like he wants to turn this particular venue into an annual show for Stardom. So it would be a fantastic idea, and I think that is something. Let me pull it up. I know I have that what he said. He talked about that. Here it is. This is what he said. I like Stardom to hold such an all-star type of tournament with the matches at least once a year. Yokohama Arena is a very good venue, so if possible, I like to hold this event around this time every year and make it like New Japan's January 4th. So it appears that Bushiroad, who, as you know, are trying to bring out to get more fans, be on board with Stardom, like get on the Stardom roller coaster. And I think this is a good thing. I have to say, having this like an annual show could be a good thing. You know, I mean, it was a pretty good show. So hopefully, if it's possible, if the Yokohama Arena um, staff will agree, then I'm up for it. Now, in the interest of what happened, the aftermath of All Star Grand Grand Queendom, as you know, there's a lot of questions that do ask, okay, what's next for for Stardom now that this is done? Well, this one came across recently about for the upcoming pay per view on the 4th of May for Fukuoka. This is around time when we have Golden Fight Week. This is what was posted out by Scott Edwards from Fightful Select, who has done a lot of work interviewing with Yoshi wrestlers. He said this is what this is going to be the pay per view card for Fukuoka. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% accurate or sure, but this is what he put out. Uh, the Wonders, the white belt will be defended. This is Mina Shirakawa's first title defense. I failed to mention this during the post-match comments during the review with the Stardom. Natsupoi has been nominated as her opponent. This is going to be interesting, and of course, Mina kept her promise. The Goddesses titles will be defended. As you know, New Eras, Ami Suri, and Mirai won. However, FWC, the former champions, issued a challenge. Once again, Koguma tried to steal them, but then that and didn't work for that. So we will see that. The high speed title will be defended. Zumi defends it against Mai Sira, who pinned her at the All Star Grand Queendom. We have Julia and Maika teaming up. They take on Utami Ishida and Sayakami Tani. Suri and Konami team up. They take on Momo Watanabe and Atsuko Tora. Mayu Iwatani and Hana team up. They take on Mariah May and Jesse. And of course, then we have the Starlight Kid and Ruka teaming up. They take on Tam Nakano and Sayuri Inoue. And of course, there's the Fukuoka Rumble. So that's what we know for this particular pay-per-view event that was announced by Scott Edwards. I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate. If that's the case, then yes. But last year they did had the Wonder of Stardom as the main event at the time. But we'll just wait and see what happens. I think that's pretty much it for our news updates. So let's just, oh yeah, call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we'll be putting out another Unagi Sayaka watch. This is some exciting news that was posted out by Unagi herself, but also we'll be talking a little bit of some upcoming matches and matches that already took place and whole not. Now, for the next episode, we'll have the AEW Dark Elevation be focused on. But as I said before, I am a bit behind with the GCW stuff. I will get to that as soon as possible. If there's anything else, then we'll see how that goes. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.